Hey everybody, what's up? We're back. It's those wrestling girls. It's your girl Krista B
and Queen PR.
And today we have a spotlight episode. And guys, I'm just gonna let you know right now, I am not as enthused about this episode. This is really all P's idea. Our episode, and you'll learn why I'm not as enthused about this episode, just because of how I feel. Never taking anything away from this person. Our episode is on Natalya. She is wrestling royalty, Hart Dynasty, the only girl to survive the dungeon, the Harts dungeon, and to graduate from there. And that's all amazing, great, and dandy. I'm never taking nothing away from her. I always support women. She does her thing when she needs to do her thing, but it just doesn't pull me in like it does P. She's not my favorite.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna let P start because this is her idea, and she's a flip flopper and she loves everybody.
Oh, not a flip flopper,
girl.
I'm not a flip flopper,
Just
but
kidding.
I'm a fan of all the women for whatever they bring to the table.
So please let me know what Natty brings to this table besides her legacy.
I've always loved Natalya because I always felt like she. You know what? Let's just start. So
I thought you were starting. That's why you said that.
No, start with what I wanted to start with in the first place. So I write for a site called Bell to Bells, and if you guys are not following it, it's all about women's wrestling. Shout out to Kristen Ashley and Phil and Lauren Founds and that whole team over there. But Lauren actually wrote an article about Natalya called Natalya is the Unsung Hero of the Women's Division. And it was right around the time I was thinking about doing the Spotlight episode on her. So I reached out to Lauren. I was like, you have to send me your article when you're finished. I'm going to use it as a reference piece. And I did just that. It's an amazing article. So go to Bells to Bells to read it. But I do believe that Natty's the unsung hero of the Women's Division as well, because she's kind of like the Iron Woman of the division. She's been there the longest.
That's true.
She's definitely the locker room leader. She has trained every single woman that's come through WWE. Natalya has trained her. Mm-hmm. She trained Ronda Rousey how to wrestle. Mm-hmm. So all of your faves in WWE in the women's division, Natalya taught them everything that they know. And just some facts that I got from Lauren's article. So Natty has had the most matches out of any woman in WWE, over 2,000. And like Krista says, she's the only woman to graduate from the Hart Dungeon. She's the first third-generation superstar that's a woman in WWE. Shout out to you, Natty. She's been in WWE for 22 years.
When?
Wait, that don't sound right.
That don't sound right.
I'm sorry, 12 years.
Right,
I'm sorry.
I'm going to say because she's
I
been since
totally read that. Yeah, I totally read that wrong.
I'm going to say, wait a minute, what?
I'm like, wait, that don't sound right. She old as fuck. I'm sorry, 12 years. She's feuded and wrestled almost every single woman in WWE from almost every era from 2008 to now. She entered number 2 and was the Iron Woman of last year's Royal Rumble. So she had the record of staying the longest. Shout out to Bianca Belair, who broke that. And I didn't know this until I read Lauren's article. She's the first and only woman to hold the SmackDown and the Divas championship. Very random fact about her.
No.
Who else?
Charlotte.
Oh, that's
Charlotte
true.
held Divas, Raw, and SmackDown.
That's true.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
Maybe she was the first one at the time.
She was the first one
at the time, right?
Yeah,
not the only
one. And then of course she made history with Lacey Evans at Crown Jewel, which actually made me like Lacey Evans. And then she was SmackDown champion. And she beat Naomi at SummerSlam in 2017.
I was there for that.
In Brooklyn.
I was there for that. Shout out to Brooklyn.
And then she was the Divas champion once as well. So Natty's had a lengthy career in WWE. She was never presented as the main face of the company. I mean, when she was SmackDown champion, yes, but it was always like Natty never fully was like that person for like a long time. Like,
and I think that's kind of my problem when it comes down to Natty. Like, Natty's amazing. Like, if there was anybody I wanted to be trained by, it would definitely be Natty.
Right, yeah.
I love her discus clothesline. But I feel like when it came to character development, it's just never there for her. She tries to be a good person. She tries to be a heel, a tweener. It's never really good for her. I feel like
on that one.
I feel like with Natty, she tries so hard to impress the crowd. Like, she crowd surfs. And I had this conversation with a coworker of mine. Shout out to you, Tat Wizza. And we were talking about it, and he was just like, "Oh, so she sounds like she's a crowd surfer, like she's a crowd pleaser, trying to figure out which way to go instead of really going down deep and true to yourself about what you like." Because, you know, these wrestlers bring parts of their personality into their characters. What is Natty's personality? Right. Like, I feel like I like her better on Total Divas than I do on...
Because we get to actually
see her
personality.
So if she can portray that into her character and her storylines, Natty would be amazing. Like, she would literally get that push and everything that she deserves. Like I said, I'm not taking anything away from her. She has accomplished a lot. Longest woman to be, like, in WWE. Yeah. First woman to hold both Divas and SmackDown titles. She's defeated Naomi. She's made history with Lacey Evans, Iron Woman, all of that. Third generation Hart. I love that. I love the fact that she can have all these accolades. When it comes to character-wise and building, it kind of takes me like...
Yeah, there's definitely... like personality wise, and it's funny because I like was with a lot of people like who, and it's a popular opinion that Natty is boring. It's hard for me to say that because I watch Total Divas.
Right.
And Natty is the opposite of boring on Total Divas. She's actually hilarious.
She's funny.
She's fun. She is she just has you get to know her better, and that's why I hate when people trash Total Divas, because I'm just like, would Natty have fans if it wasn't for Total? Like, no shade to Natty, but like most of her fans are people that fell in love with her watching Total Divas.
Right. And I agree, like, they put her in weird storylines. Like, she was in the Divas era, like the whole farting thing.
Yeah, and then she had that like red hair.
I'm so glad
she went blonde.
It didn't look good on her.
Yeah.
Then
she was trying too hard to be a diva, and Natty is not.
She's not diva.
That.
No,
she is a strong. Like, she
was like the Divas era. She was China of the Divas era, like the build, the athleticism, the everything, and then it just went to. She's just trying to please everybody. I feel like. When it comes to her, she's kind of more reserved and quiet in the back. Like, the idea, she'll just run with it and try to make it her own instead of saying, yeah, no, this is not going to work for me, instead of voicing her opinions. And if that's the case, it's sad to see, because Natty is very talented, has so much potential.
She does.
You know, it's never a time where it's like, well, Natty, you know, she didn't do amazing in the ring, whatever. Like, I have never come across a time where Natty didn't do amazing in the ring.
Yeah.
Character building wise,
it's just that
it like her character as a wrestler, it doesn't, you know,
it's almost like she has the pedigree, and it's like you said, like, it's like one minute she's supposed to be a bad guy, and the next week she's not. The next, like, she was in so many different things where she was supposed to be bad, and then she, like, remember I don't know if you remember the welcome committee with like Carmella, like a few years ago, and they were supposed to be like bad and like bullies and stuff, and I was just like, I'm not Natty, I'm not convinced. And then
when she turned on Nikki,
I don't know, like you said, like, in the ring, she's gonna bring it, but I was never sold on her character until I started watching Total Divas, and I just like Natty for Natty. I'm just like, I don't know if she's a good guy or bad guy this week, but I just like Natty, and I know she's gonna do well in the ring. But when she first came in, and I have this theory about Natty, because she came in 2008, and Lauren, in her article, mentioned that was the same year that the Divas Championship debuted, which I thought was interesting. So now you have Natty, who is the opposite of what a diva is. She's built, she's strong, you know, she doesn't want to be sexy, she wants to wrestle. So now she has to try to fit into that. And then you could tell that it just wasn't working, like, in the beginning. It just made her
uncomfortable.
It looked uncomfortable, and I feel like it wasn't until like 2015 when she started dressing with like the one-piece latex shit and like the cat ears. That's when I feel like she started to kind of come into like her own.
And it was pulling me in, and then they put her with her husband and Cesaro, and then it was just like, okay, so you're being lost in the
and
into
then she
the
had
shadows.
like the pink hair. But then I feel once she went fully blonde and she had the leather and was like kind of like and I only know this because of Total Divas, when she like was it's inspired by like a dominatrix type look. That's when I started to kind of pay attention. Like, okay, Natty, and like her gear is
always dope,
beautiful in person.
Like, her gear is always dope.
Like, TV does not do her gear justice. Like, it is absolutely beautiful. But I think that's when she started coming more into like her own. She was still flip flopping between storylines and like whether or not she was gonna be bad. But I was like, okay, this is the Natty I can get used to. I could tell like she's more comfortable in her skin. She's not in Total Divas. Sometimes she like was a little insecure. You could tell like with the other blondes and stuff like that. Like Summer Rae slapped the shit out of her and shit.
And broke her nose, I think.
Yeah, but I think once she kind of like felt comfortable in her role, I like you can see she's way more like secure and like in who she is. But what I really like about Natty the most, I think, is the role that she plays in the locker room. Like, you could tell, like, she's the leader.
She's like the mama bear.
She's the mama bear. She's the leader. She, you know, she knows the business. She's been in the business. Like, she kind of takes all of the new people, like, under the wing. And I think that worked against Natty because it was like, oh, it's Natty. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, let's use Natty to help the new girls. But it's like, Natty's like, wait, like, I kind of want to be included, too. Like, I don't always want to be the one elevating everyone else. Like, I kind of want to be in the spotlight as well. So I think that's why it was so cool when she finally did win the SmackDown Championship from Naomi, because even though it was from Naomi in Brooklyn, but it was good for her because she's like, it was almost like she finally got her moment. Like in the modern era of the women's evolution, like Natty had a lengthy title run and it was good.
And that was actually a good match. Like those two women together.
Yeah.
Athleticism
they have good
wise,
chemistry.
Yes, that was a actually great ass match. If you guys haven't watched that 2017 SummerSlam between Natty and Naomi, you need to go watch it.
Yeah.
I should pull videos and photos from that night and post it on our Instagram.
Especially since you was there. Yeah,
I was there. I had good seats. Yeah. Shout out to my cousin Cha Cha for those. Appreciate you.
Hey Cha Cha.
With Natty, like. And I don't want to say I'm bashing her because I'm not.
No.
I'm just really voicing my opinion on how I feel like. And I know it's hard trying to put on this character and, you know, and trying to have to differentiate between my real life and, you know, my wrestling world. Even though she grew up in a wrestling family. Her dad is a Hall of Famer. Her uncle's a Hall of Famer. Her uncle's he's a 2-time Hall of Famer. And I get that. And then she lost her dad out of nowhere. She lost her father, and she was able to induct him into the Hall of Fame, and we were there for that. And even though that asshole attacked Bret Hart, but you know, she stood through it all. She also had the opportunity of inducting her best friend, who I thought they were twins at first when I came across
the
Beth
Divas
Phoenix.
of Doom.
I'm like, they twins? What? And she also inducted Alundra Blaze.
Yeah. She's like their go, and I just again showed you her position within the company is that like they called on Natalya to induct Alundra Blaze and Beth. Beth Phoenix made sense too, but you can tell that they hold Natty in like high regard. And I don't know who I was talking to about this. Maybe my dad, but we were saying how, you know, Natty has a job for life in WWE because she could easily transition into a trainer. She could easily transition into a mentor, brand ambassador. Like any woman that comes to WWE can learn everything that they can from Natalya at some point.
I agree. I agree a lot.
Yeah, she's good. And then, so I want to talk about some of her memorable feuds because I was looking back since I broke the news to Chris that I want to do a Natalya episode. I was like looking back on things, and she's had some pretty interesting feuds. I forgot about the one with Nikki Bella. When Nikki Bella first came back from injury, and they had like
hit her in the back of the head.
Legit feud. Like they had like a false count anywhere match that was physical, like as hell. They had some good exchanges on the mic. I was like, ooh, and then, you know, I love sassy Natty, you know, and I think that's probably her real personality.
Right.
But she comes out being, I want to be, you know.
Or real timid, like sis.
But, you know, when she comes out and what match was that? Survivor Series, when she kept calling everybody a bitch. Like, yeah, get out of here, bitch. I was like, go ahead, Natty. That's the personality I want.
I can appreciate that.
Stop trying so hard and just be yourself.
Be yourself.
Like you are because on Total Divas, she's
she is funny.
Extremely entertaining. Like she's the OG of Total Divas. She's been there since season 1. And there's a reason for that. Like she's great for reality TV. Like last season, her and Ronda. Her, Rhonda, and Sonya Deville.
That when she was just like, I wanted to, be at a spa and whatnot. I did not want to be here in boots and stepping in goat shit or whatever it was. Yeah, that was hilarious. God. Like
Natty she has a personality.
That sass she could carry on into the ring.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't want to sit here and be doing what you're telling me to do.
Right.
But she can't make it look rehearsed.
That's the thing.
Like, it has to be real natural. Like
they should just tell her to go out there and just be like, Natty, just don't give a fuck.
Just be you. Yeah,
just
like,
be you. And I think
what happened to Roman.
Because she can back it up in the ring, so why not?
Yeah, look what happened to Roman. His shit sounded rehearsed when they gave him a mic. That shit was trash.
But now he seems much more like, comfortable.
And that's what happened to The
Rock.
Rock.
Like less awkward.
That's what happened to The Rock. See,
yeah.
I always got to throw my Samoans in there.
Right.
Yeah, that's what happened to The
wrestling
Rock.
royalty.
Right, from one royal family to the next.
Yes.
Even with Nia. Nia first on the mic, it was just like, we know why you were quiet.
Right. But then once she started, loosened up a little bit.
Right. And I feel like Natty's been here for too long to still get that type of fright.
Yeah.
Like, I know you're never going to get over that reaction from the audience.
Yeah.
Music hit and,
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like when Natty comes out, it should be a deafening sound.
Right.
Like when Charlotte comes, when Becky comes, when the Bella Twins came back, when Ronda comes, like when Naomi came back Sunday. Like, I feel like it should be a deafening sound. And I feel like if we were to just add Natty, I had a brain blast, y'all.
Okay.
Natty, when you and Naomi come back to New York, me and P is gonna help you out.
Yes.
Like, not in a rude way or condescending way or whatever. We just want you to get that right. What is the word I'm looking for? Adulation? That right?
Yes.
That you deserve. You've been here for the longest.
You really have.
Like, you are inspiration to me and as well to P. And I would never take anything away from you because you have done it all. You've seen it all and you're still going.
Yeah.
But we just feel, or I just feel, I don't want to speak for you, that the level that you're at is not the level that you need to be. You need to be much, much higher.
Yep. And I feel like last year she did a lot last year.
She did a lot.
Like way more. But it's funny because we talked about her feud with Natty. We kind of hinted on
Nikki.
With Nikki and Naomi too, from SummerSlam. And then I have Lay Cool here because they were the ones. So they had a good beef with the Divas of Doom, and like they were kind of a part of like the bullying and stuff, and like all the gifts that I saw of like Natty. I'm sorry, and kudos to Natty for like pushing through that storyline, like where
she was trash.
Like they really had you fart in, like that was her storyline.
Like, I don't know why Vince concocted that,
right?
And I don't know why she agreed to it. Like, girl, you are wrestling royalty just like the McMahons, okay?
Seriously. Right.
Just like the McMahons.
So how did you feel? Okay, so speaking of last year, which I think was probably one of Natty's best years, because she feuded with Becky Lynch for SummerSlam, because SummerSlam was in Canada, so that I was like all the way here for that, them having a championship match. I kind of knew Natty wasn't going to win, but I was happy that she
gave her all in that match.
That match was great.
She gave her all in that match.
That match was really, really good. And then she had that feud with Ruby Riott. And when so I know like you don't like these sorts of storylines when they like include like, because they like brought up Natty's dad immediately after he died, and like Ruby Riott used it as like a storyline. She had the table with him on it, and
that
stuff
was
like
so disrespectful. And the only reason why I really didn't like it is because I lost my father in 2016. So it's just like, if you was to dare ever bring up my father,
it's not cool,
or my mom who I lost in 2017. And the way that you did it, like you step on something that of theirs that belongs to me, like the jacket or the table or whatever,
we gonna kill you,
right? Like, all of that goes out the window. Like, I don't care if it's for TV or not, and I would have never agreed to something like that. I don't care how many times. Well, Vince, I don't care how many times Vince would be like, "Well, I'll put more zeros on your check." It does not negate the fact that you were sitting here disrespecting my dead father or my dead mother or my dead whoever just to get your TV ratings up. I would never sit here and compromise that. So Natty, I wish the sassy badass Natty for that would have came out and whooped her ass.
Yeah, and she ended up getting, and that's what I liked about the feud too. And I think that gained Natty a lot of fans, was like that when she did finally get her comeuppance against Ruby, and every time she came out wearing Anvil's jacket, it was just like, oh my God.
I teared and I cried like every
First of all,
time.
it's a dope ass jacket.
Hell yeah.
First of all.
Hell yeah.
And then her wearing it is just like, oh my God. It was just like the sweetest thing. And Anvil on Total, like I fell in love with Anvil on Total Divas because he was so endearing and he was adorable. And you could tell he had so much fun being on Total Divas, and then his like friendship with Lana. Like he was so cute on Total Divas. Like I loved seeing him on there. So then when he died, you know, of course it was sad, but like for Total Divas fans that got to know him, that maybe, you know, I grew up in 1990. I wasn't really watching the Hart Foundation when they were out. So like for me to know him through that, and then when he passed, it was like, oh, like damn.
I think
like,
I cried
I
with you,
definitely
Natty.
cried. And then like when she came out with the jacket and stuff
I
like
cried
that,
then too.
it was really sad. But I really enjoyed that feud with
And we
the
have to
Riot
give it up
Squad.
to Naomi. Because in Total Divas, when Natty was kind of like all over the place, Naomi pulled it to the side. I was like, listen,
hell yeah,
you have to cry, you have to grieve,
Let
you
that
have
shit
to do
out.
whatever it is you need to do for you in order for you to actually feel better. Naomi, she's the epitome of checking on your friends and making sure that they're good.
Because I'm sure Natty's the strong friend backstage for everyone.
Yes.
And at this point, it was like Natty kind of needs a
strong friend.
And I like that scene too because it was when I think Natty wanted to throw her mom a birthday party
because it'll be the first birthday without
him.
Yeah.
And like Natty like pulled her aside and was like, I just want to check on you. Like, I know this has to be
Naomi.
hard. What did I say?
You said Natty pulled her aside.
Naomi pulled her aside. Like, I just have to check on you. Like,
Yeah.
are you okay? Like, I know this can't be easy. And then, like, I'm sure Natty, like, really appreciated that because she seemed like she's the rock of her family. She's the rock of the locker room. Like, she, you know.
It's like, there's no room to be, you know, to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
That's why I hate that word strong. Like when it was me, and I'm not trying to make it about, but when it was me, and my friends would kind of go through something similar or whatever. Like, oh my God, how did you do it? You're so strong. Please don't ever call me strong because it has no room for me to be vulnerable or to be sad or to cry or to anything.
It kind of puts a pressure on you.
Yeah, to stay up when I need to feel like I need to be down.
I just need to let it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
so Naomi, shout out to you for being that friend for Natty.
Shout out to you and Ronda Rousey too.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Ronda Rousey lost her father at a very young age as well, so she was able to kind of like relate to Natty. And it's funny that we bring up Ronda Rousey because I wanted to bring up their friendship, which is really cool. Like, which I thought it was like more like a trainer. Like Ronda Rousey's new let Natty train you to be a wrestler, but like watching Total Divas, like they have a very genuine friendship, and I could tell Ronda Rousey probably didn't have a lot of girlfriends like Natty, but prior to that, and like because she just seems different around Natty, like she's just like I don't know how to explain it, but like you could tell that their friendship is like very genuine,
right?
And I appreciated that, and she's also extremely close to the Bella Twins. She trained the Bella Twins. They came into WWE around the same time, so they have a very close friendship as well. And they talk about her all the time on their podcast too. So, and I just think that's so cool that everyone that comes into WWE, they have a meaningful relationship with Natalya, which says a lot about who she is, because she could be that veteran that's just like, y'all fend for yourselves.
Right.
I want all the title shots, but she will more than happy to put other people in the spotlight if it's best for business. And not a lot of wrestlers are like that.
Natty, I need you to start being selfish a little bit.
Well, I feel like last year she had a lot of good moments last year.
She did, but it didn't take her to where she needed to be. This is what I mean when I need her to be selfish. Yeah. Like, I need you to be up there with where the 4 horsewomen are. She should have been there before them. And that lane that the Bella Twins took, or that Team Bad took, or, you know, PCB took, and then, you know, I needed her to be at that top and them climbing up to her, you know? So now I need her to be more selfish. I need her to be more sassy. Like, your stuff in the ring is great.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, we know that you carry your father with you. We know, but girl, you can let that pressure go now.
Yeah.
You can definitely let that pressure go.
I agree.
Everybody knows who you are, where you come from, who your dad was, who your uncle is, who your Uncle Owen was, you know, who your husband is. Everybody knows the legacy you come from. You can let that pressure go.
Yeah.
You can definitely just be your sassy self. You can bring whoever you are, the real you, out to the ring, the character to your character, and just have the best time of your life. Like, say no if you don't feel comfortable with what's going on. Pitch your own ideas. Like, we watched on Total Divas where you try to pitch your ideas when the tag team champions coming on, they told you no, and you felt that it was a blow, and then you ended up tag teaming with Beth Phoenix again for a little bit. Girl, start putting your foot down some more. You got this. You're a woman. You fought hard for this. You're the longest woman in this business right now. You have seniority. You are a priority, and you have to start looking at yourself that way. Natty, we love you. And like I said, I'll never take nothing from you. I just want to see more from you before you retire.
Yeah, me too. But I'm glad you mentioned WrestleMania 35 because that was a really cool moment.
Lord, I did?
think about
I did.
Yeah, you said she pitched a storyline about the tag team.
Oh,
titles,
right.
But because I have a strong feeling. So just because I've been watching Total Divas for
since
so
the
long,
inception,
in the first like half of the show, you could tell that she was very insecure with where she was on the roster. She always wanted to be champion. She hated when New Girl started because she was just like, "Damn, like they're gonna take my spot." But the last
who's New Girl, Lacey?
No, remember like the first seasons when like Summer Rae came.
Oh
and,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Any new when Mandy Rose came, like any new people,
New
especially
blonde,
if they were blonde,
a new
she
blonde.
was like,
yeah,
no.
Yeah.
But I feel like that last half of the show, the last like few seasons, I think she's gotten more secure, and I don't think she cares as much to be a champion. I think she just wants to make dope moments for her career. Like, let's say she retired next year, like she can look back and be like, I made
Natty, don't
history.
you retire next year?
I don't want her to retire, but she can say like, I did Crown Jewel, which was an amazing moment. I was champion in a good feud. I've had title matches in my hometown that people cared about. And the thing about Natty fans is that you're either a Natty stan or you're like, you were just like, you know, like when we did our post, like, oh my God, we're doing a Natty episode. Like half of the people were like, list of their favorite Natty moments, and then you had the other half of Twitter that was just like, why?
I was a part of the why.
And that's why I like our spotlight episodes, because it's like I like that we have that opposite opinion of just like, because I'm just like, how can we not talk about Natty? You're just like, what is there to talk about? I'm like, there's so much to talk about. But I like that because then people can listen that may not like Natty and be like, oh, maybe I do. And then there's people that's just like, like I'm not convinced at all. But I like that. So do you have a favorite Natty moment?
I think of her calling people bitches and her standing up for her father's legacy against Ruby Riott. I was going to say the Nikki Bella feud, but I'm just like, it came way out of left field, to be honest, and it wasn't executed properly.
Because they wanted to try to turn her heel, and it
wasn't executed properly.
Yeah,
but
they had good matches. Well, like you said, that's never the issue with
Natty.
It's
never the issue. Their matches are never.
But the match
issue.
was good though.
The matches is never the issue when it comes down to Natalya. She can come in and she can fucking dance, or she could dance in circles around some of these women. These other women in there. That's never the issue with me. The issue is the fact that character-wise, it doesn't draw me in as I would like to. I'm drawn into Lacey Evans more than Natty. And you already know I really didn't like Lacey Evans when she came out. I'm drawn into Charlotte more. And we already know how I feel about Charlotte and her cockiness sometimes. Like, I mean, I'm not as drawn into Bailey as I am Natty, but it's still kind of equal for me.
Got you.
So the matches were never the problem. Yeah. But yes, when her and Ruby was feuding, and the whole Jimmy Neidhart, Anvil Neidhart thing happened, and kudos to you, Natty, because I know it's for TV, but I would have whooped her. I would have put a mud hole in her face.
And she said something. So the reason why she was okay with that, she said, is because her father would have wanted to be a part of things, because they're a wrestling family. So it's just like, how else am I going to mourn my dad but do a story? Like, I know this sounds crazy, but she's like, of course we're going to do something about him in WWE. Like, of course we are going to do that.
I mean, I get it, but I feel like it was really, really soon. And it was, like I said, it's because I can relate. Like, both of my parents are gone. Yeah. So it's like, I can relate. Yeah. Just like when Paige brought up Charlotte's dead brother. Like, bruh.
Awkward.
Like, I don't, my siblings aren't deceased, thank God.
But it's still just
it's still
like,
something
no,
a line you don't cross.
Don't do that.
So I'm just like, damn, like it's a line you don't cross. But the feud turned out really, really well.
Yeah,
so.
and I'm glad that she ended up winning. That's definitely one of my favorite matches. Is that table match? I love the tables match with Beth Phoenix and Natty against Lay Cool, and I didn't realize that was the first women's tables match. Yeah. So that was dope, even though the tables were small and pink. But you know what? We've come a long way. WWE. I liked Crown Jewel. I love that Natty was chosen. At the moment, people were like, why Natty and Lacey? But I'm kind of glad it was not. I mean, I love the Four Horsewomen, but like they've made a lot of history. I'm glad, like I was saying before, like she can look back on her career and all the moments. Like I would be okay. You were the first women to wrestle at Crown Jewel with Lacey. And then, like, it was just emotional. Like, when they came out, like, you could just feel it.
They threw stuff at Natty, and she just kind of dodged.
Yep. They was trying to throw water bottles at her, and she just kept going. And, like, that's one thing, like, her strength is, like, I see Natty in the ring do things, and I'm like, yo, that bitch is strong.
She's strong. She's strong.
She's so strong. She's so good in the ring. Like, you mentioned her clothesline.
Her really discus good. Clothesline.
Yes, that's really good. The sharpshooter. I mean, it's really good. And what I like about her finisher is that, and someone said a good finisher is one that the audience can anticipate and like cheer it. So like once she like flips people over, the crowd is just like, okay. Like,
I think my favorite one that Natty did was when she did the double sharpshooter with Lacey and Alexa, I believe.
That was good.
And I think it was in Royal Rumble last year. All right. No, not last year. Alexa wasn't in it last year.
Who was that?
I forget who it was. And I know Corey was like, why is she holding her? Because it was, I can't think of who it was.
I don't remember the other person. But yeah, anytime she does that double shit is dope. I'm like, yo,
two people, 4 legs.
Whew, that look like it hurt too.
I never. That's one thing I never want to try at all.
Oh, me neither. Oh, my back hurts. Right, just thinking about it. Oh my god.
Aspirin in the car.
Yo. What other Natty moments do I really like? I think I just like that she's also been included in a lot of things as well. She's been in a lot of Money in the Bank matches. She was #1 at Royal Rumble. She was in all Royal Rumbles. She was she's never been in Elimination Chamber though. So that's something else she could do.
So always room for the next month.
Yeah. There's still some history that she could be made. I'm a huge Natty fan, and I want to see what more she can do. I hope she gets at least one more title reign before she retires.
She got to win Raw.
She got to what?
She has to win the Raw title. She hasn't won Raw yet.
That's true. That's true. I can see her. But it's like that question is like, who is really about to dethrone Becky? That's like a really hard question. And is that person ever going to be Natty? That's so hard.
That's so fucking hard.
Like, who's gonna feel? Well, this show's not about Becky, so let me stop talking about Becky. But I would love to see Natty become a champion one more time. I think she deserves it. I think that she is the unsung hero of the women's division. Like, I feel like she's the glue that keeps that division together, at least like from backstage point of view. And then like who's better to get advice from like about life in WWE than Natty? Like, she's done pissed herself in the ring. Like, she's done had everything that can happen to you in the ring has probably happened to Natty. And she's so dramatic. And I think that's why
a lot of people feel as if she's boring or that she don't get the respect that she deserves, because that couldn't have been Michelle McCool pissing herself in the ring or farting. That couldn't have been Melina. That couldn't have been Trish, even though Trish was about to kiss Vince McMahon's ass, but she kind of made up for it with the, you understand? So Natty just kind of went along with it because it was like the right thing to do. And I feel like that's why fans when we put up the Twitter post, it was very divided because it was just like, she's a gimmick person. Like, she's all here for the gimmicks instead of being here for, you know.
Right.
And go piggyback on you what you said about Lacey Evans and Natty going to Crown Jewel. This is when they just finished their feud and they kind of went separate ways. But when they came back, I was just like, oh my gosh, why these two again? And it wasn't because I didn't want Natty to see. I'm just like, okay, they're going to feud again. We just ended this. Like, it's over. But I do like, I mean, I could have seen a Nikki Bella come back for Crown Jewel. I'm not sure what she would have wore because, you know, they
God.
can't show
I don't
skin.
even think Nikki Bella would feel comfortable head to toe. Like, does she ever wear that many clothes?
I mean, when she first came out, I remember they were wearing pants. So, or I could have seen Naomi and Natty, or Carmella and Natty, somebody who's been there a little bit longer than Lacey. Not saying that Lacey wasn't deserving of it, because since then her's been shooting through the roof, especially with her feuds with Becky and Sasha and Bailey. But yeah, that was great. I'm so glad it was Natty to go and make that history with Lacey at Crown Jewel. Let's see if more history will be made this year at Crown Jewel. Yeah. Even though I'm kind of over it.
Yeah. But we'll see.
It's neither here or there with that. But Natty, if you listen to this episode,
we love you.
To its entirety, we do love you. You know, I'm not ever taking anything away from you and your accomplishments and your accolades. I'm never taking that away from you. But give us a little different side of you. Like,
just be yourself.
Spice it up.
Yeah, like, be yourself. Like, you know how Charlotte is just her bitchy, arrogant queen self. Like, she could be a good guy, but it doesn't matter. She's just Charlotte. I think Natty should be just Natty. Like, cursing people. Like, be that feistiness, like that at Survivor Series. Like, I would love that. Another thing I want to bring up really quick, too, because I listened to her podcast when she was on Chasing Glory with Lillian Garcia, and she also suffered from an eating disorder growing up, too. And she's, you know, dealt with body
dysmorphia
image
or body
issues or whatever. And like, one thing I do like about Natty, and she's a great role model for girls and women, period, is that she's not a size 2. She's strong as hell. She looks strong. She's thick. She's like a regular sized woman, and she is beautiful, and she's okay with that. And like, that's what I like about her and Beth Phoenix being the Divas of Doom back then, because it just showed like you can be strong and beautiful and a badass, and that's fine. You don't have to be a diva. You don't have to be a Kelly Kelly to be, you know, and shout out to Kelly Kelly, but like, you know, she was definitely a diva. She, you know, she looked like one, she wrestled like one, and Natty was kind of like the opposite of that. Like, I'm strong, you know, like I'm not a size 2, like I have muscle mass, like I'm a actual wrestler, and like I really appreciate that about her, because there's a lot of people and girls especially that look up to that. And yeah. Oh, and we have to mention one thing too.
Okay, we gotta wrap up.
Yes. So just one more thing, because her fans like this about her, is that she's a huge cat lady fan. Like, the Hart family loves cats.
Paws.
And it's funny. So one funny story real quick. A couple years ago, a picture went viral of a kitchen. Someone was cooking, and there's like cats all over the counter, all over everything. Yes, look at your face. So my sister sends me this picture, like she hates cats. So she was just like, ew. And I was like, and the sad part is I instantly recognized the kitchen. It was Natty. It was on Natty's Instagram. And I was like, oh yeah, they love cats. And like, if you read Bret Hart's book, or if you know anything about the Hart house and like the Hart family, they love cats. There's at least 10 cats in like almost every Hart house. Like, they love cats. And actually, her and TJ don't want kids. They just want cats. Yes.
Well,
yeah. So, and there are fans out there that relate to her on that aspect. So I just wanted to put that out there, because she sells the little cat ears and shit like that. So
that's cute.
Shout out. What is it? Claws out, paws out, whatever her line is that she says.
All that. If it works, it works. But this concludes our spotlight episode on Natty. Natty, we love you. Bring us back something fierce and sassy and be more you. And on that note, it's your girl, Krista B.
And Queen PR.
And we are out.